Hello Battle Cats players, my name is Chance and welcome to my guide. Today we're going to be looking at one of my personal favorite cats and a cat that honestly existed on my general squad for quite some time. We're going to be looking at Jurassic Cat. Now, Jurassic Cat is a rare cat that can be unlocked by playing the rare cat capsules. He's a pretty nifty little unit and he's probably, I don't know, it's kind of a toss-up. I would consider him to be one of the best anti-metal units in the game. And while there is a little bit of an argument to be made for his first two evolutions not really being that good, his true form, talented out, is probably one of my favorite anti-metal units. Certainly out of the rare cats, I would say he's my favorite. But ultimately, it is my hope that throughout exploring really all there is to know about Jurassic Cat, that you can make a more informed decision on not only how to best use him, but also how far to invest into him, if at all. Let's first start by taking a look at his evolutionary line, starting with Jurassic Cat itself, whose description reads, descendant of an ancient cat race that existed during the Jurassic Age, might perform critical attacks. Then at level 10 it will evolve into Jurassic Cat Sitter, whose description reads, descendant of an ancient cat race that takes care of the young during the Jurassic era, might perform critical attacks. Then at level 30, as well as introducing some Catfruit and XP, it becomes Catasaurus. This description reads, discovered a cute dinosaur in a magical land of fungi. Features extra seating for the kids, might perform critical attacks. Pretty cool descriptions, but as far as mechanics go, nothing we haven't seen in other cats. Now then, let's move on to its performance. Firstly, Jurassic Cat is considered to be a critter, and this is just a unit that can perform the crit ability. Now then, as far as pros are concerned, we have quick attack rate, fast recharge time, and decent health. And under cons, we have single target attack, low attack power, and short range. And under additional or other traits, we have a 5% chance to crit, or 7% in true form. Now, I hear what a few of you are saying. You're like, wow, only 5 to 7% chance to crit when only single target. Well, that's not very much. And in general, you're kind of correct. One individual Catasaurus won't really do too much work on his own. However, with proper strategy, it's a little bit of a different story. Speaking of, let's check out some gameplay and go over some strategies as well. Firstly, as far as cost is concerned, Chapter 1, this unit will cost 350 cents, Chapter 2, 525, and Chapter 3, 700. Which kind of put him in the lower middle-ish bracket in terms of cost. As far as strategy is concerned, however, you're going to be using this unit predominantly against metal enemies. That's really where he shines. And to address the point of the low crit ability, that is true that it isn't very high, but what it lacks in terms of raw percentage, it makes up for it as far as spammability is concerned. Catasaurus is a very, very spammable unit with a very, very fast attack rate, essentially allowing him individually to do the work of a great deal of other potential anti-metal units. The only real downside to him that is detrimental is his range. At least in his normal and evolved form, some of the most difficult metal enemies outrange him, and that makes him potentially useless. There are ways to protect him in these forms, but very seldomly is it worth it, and it's really hard to do it reliably. However, when his true form arrives, it actually increases his range by quite a bit, going from 150 to 180. Which is enough to outrange most of those potentially threatening and life-killing enemies for him. That and the overall stat boost definitely helps him out a lot more, making him endgame viable. At least with the support of a few talents, which we'll talk about later. It is also worth noting that he has access to one pretty good cat combo, and that's actually the reason he was in my general squad for so long, but we'll talk about that in a second. Just to summarize, however, Catasaurus is a really good unit. He's very spammable, he's very cost effective, he has a high attack rate. The crit bonus is really just that, a bonus, but it makes him very, very useful on metal stages. And given his rarity, he's likely to be one of the first endgame viable anti-metal units you're going to get access to. And because of that, I really do think he's worth heavy investment into. Now then, let's move on to talk about a couple of his cat combos. Jurassic Cat only has access to 2 cat combos, the first being Age of Dinosaurs, which is a cat base-up of the small variety. It involves Lizard Cat and Jurassic Cat, and we've actually talked about this before in the Lizard Cat video. This increases the cat base's health by 20%. And personally, I really don't care for these. Ultimately, especially towards later levels, if something's at your base, it's going to be doing way too much damage for 20% to really make much of a difference. So overall, I'm not really excited about this one. Now let's look at his next available cat combo, Mini-Saurus. This is a research power-up of the small variety, involving Little Macho Cat and Jurassic Sitter Cat. This decreases the recharge time of all cats by about a second. Bear in mind, however, you can't really go beneath 2 seconds. That's the minimum the game will cap you out at, but still. This is an incredibly useful combo for really every stage of the game. And well, in terms of raw mathematics, there's an argument to be made that the Biobone combination is still a little bit better. I would also say that in terms of usable units, certainly for some of the more difficult metal stages, I would say that Little Macho Cat and Jurassic Sitter Cat, or at least the true form of Jurassic Sitter Cat, actually have a place on the team. As on a lot of those stages, your meat shields are going to be one-shotted one way or another, so having Little Macho Cat there is perfectly viable in terms of a meat shield. And Jurassic Sitter Cat's true form, Catasaurus, is almost a must-take in my opinion. So why not get the advantage of having a research power-up at the same time, making your already spammable units a little bit more spammable. At least that's what I think. As always, let me know what you think down beneath in the comment section. Now then, let's quickly go over the Catfruits you're going to need to true form into Catasaurus. You're going to need 3 purple seeds, which can be obtainable every Tuesday, 2 blue seeds, which can be obtained every Thursday, 3 yellow seeds, which can be obtained every Friday, 1 green fruit, which can be obtained every Monday, and 1 red fruit, which can be obtained every Wednesday, as well as 200,000 XP. Now then, I'm just going to flash some of the charts and screens pertaining to Catasaurus on screen here, as well as read out some trivia. Catasaurus resembles and references Yoshi from the Super Mario games. The description discovered a cute dinosaur in a magical land of fungi, resembling the Mushroom Kingdom. The dinosaur, while jumping, moves its feet for extra time in the air when attacking, just like Yoshi. It is also interesting to note that when knocked back, the dinosaur's tongue can be seen, which further supports its resemblance with Yoshi. Catasaurus is currently the only cat unit with a talent which caps at level 5. Consequently, they are also the only cat with a talent which costs a mere 25 NP to fully upgrade. In spite of the unit's description, there were no cats in the Jurassic period. The oldest fossil of a remotely cat-like creature is around 30 million years old, while the Jurassic period ended 145 million years ago. And that is currently all of the trivia regarding Jurassic Cat. Now then, let's talk about talents. As far as available talents go, you have Critical, which upgrades critical hit chance by 1% per level up to 5%, for a total NP cost of 25. Then you have Resist Knockback, which reduces knockback push by 5% per level up to 50% for a total cost of 75 NP. Then Defense Buff, which upgrades health by 2% per level up to 20% for a total cost of 75 NP, and Attack Buff, which does the same thing for the attack, of course, but for the same price. Then Cost Down, which reduces the cost by 10, 15, or 20 cents, depending on what chapter you're in, per level, up to 100, 150, and 200 cents for a total NP cost of 75. And really, all of these have their uses. But you're going to really want to prioritize Critical first and foremost, and seeing as how they're all so cheap, it's pretty easy to justify. After you invest into Critical, I feel like my next move would be the Cost Down, as on metal stages, money tends to be a bigger issue, just because it takes so much time to kill each enemy, and there's not really a ton of enemy spam on some of the more difficult metal stages. So as the more efficient you can be with your money, typically the better. After that, probably Attack Buff, followed up shortly by Defense Buff, and then Resist Knockback lastly. The reason I put Resist Knockback lastly is it doesn't really help you out too much assuming you're meat shielding properly, as ideally you shouldn't ever have your stack taking too much damage, and since This will be Catasaurus, the true form. Your range will be pretty good, so there's not really much of a need for it. It is also worth noting that Jurassic Cat has access to an orb slot. In that orb slot, there's really only one orb currently in the game that makes sense, and that's defense up against metals. Nothing else is really justifiable in this slot, but yeah. I would really like to see Ponos add like an attack damage up towards metal, but like obviously that won't happen because of the way metals work. So I don't know, maybe like a small crit chance, I don't know. It just kind of looks weird to have like all these options for every other trait and then metal just has one. I don't know, it just looks awkward to me, that's all. Now that you know what I think about Jurassic Cat, let's see what all of you had to say about him. Amalos Gatos 298 Silica says, critical, and yeah, I agree. At I'm Freaking Stupid says, good, and yeah, I also agree. And Shadow Knight 2485 says, is my favorite cat for metal and I almost always have it in my loadout. I was the same for a very, very long time. I still do take him on metal stages, but he's not on my general squad anymore. Still, a very good unit in very, very many ways. If you would like to be featured in this part of the video, feel free to check out our community section and comment on the relevant posts. And that is about all I have to say about Jurassic Cat. Thank you so much for watching until this point. Be sure to like and subscribe because Cat God demands it. And as always guys, I will talk to you soon.